Arissa Lavigny-Duval, born in 3243, was introduced to society as the daughter of Prince Aristide de Lavigny and his wife, Florence Lavigny. The Lavigny family, a prestigious noble house, held significant influence within the empire, owning estates on Capital in Achenar, on Topaz in Phasis, and in Kamadenu. From a young age, Arissa was immersed in the traditions and responsibilities that came with her noble lineage. Raised as the daughter of Prince Aristide de Lavigny and Florence Lavigny, Arissa's early life was steeped in the privileges and responsibilities of imperial nobility. However, the death of Prince Aristide unveiled a profound truth. Arissa was, in fact, the illegitimate daughter of Emperor Hengist-Duval. After Prince Aristide's sudden death, Florence Lavigny continued to raise her daughter within the protective confines of their family estates, ensuring she received an education befitting her status. As Arissa matured, she began to take on roles within the imperial court, her poise and intellect marking her as a prominent figure among the nobility. Arissa's political career commenced with her tenure as a senator, where she quickly distinguished herself from her peers. Unlike many senators who distanced themselves from their constituents once in office, Arissa maintained a hands-on approach, personally addressing the concerns of those she represented. Her commitment to transparency and justice was further exemplified by her undercover endeavor as an imperial slave at House Lavigny on Achenar. This experience exposed her to the systemic corruption within imperial institutions, including bribery and fraudulent activities. While these revelations were disheartening, they reinforced her belief in the superiority of the imperial system over alternatives like the Federation, especially regarding the standard of living for the underprivileged. The true nature of her parentage remained concealed until a pivotal moment in 3300. It was then that Florence Lavigny and Emperor Hengist-Duval announced their intention to marry. This union was not merely a consolidation of power between two noble houses, but also a revelation of a deeply held secret. Arissa was the biological daughter of Emperor Hengist-Duval. Near the close of 3300, Hengist decreed that his only legitimate child, Harold, who is Aisling-Duval's unmarried father, was not of sound mind and therefore unfit for rule, and in any case had no legitimate children himself. Following this announcement, Arissa Lavigny-Duval declared that she was the illegitimate child of Hengist. The emperor supported this claim by announcing his forthcoming marriage to Arissa's mother, Florence Lavigny, and was expected to formally adopt Arissa and cement her claim to the throne. By legitimizing Arissa as his daughter through marriage to Florence, Emperor Hengist intended to position her as a direct heir to the imperial throne. This move was strategic, especially considering the complexities surrounding the line of succession at the time. However, the path to legitimacy and succession was fraught with challenges. On August 5, 3301, Emperor Hengist-Duval was assassinated.
The fact that anyone would attack the emperor in his own palace, when for all intents and purposes he's already on his deathbed, is symptomatic of a very serious sickness within our society. Certain elements, criminal and otherwise, see the current situation as an opportunity to advance their own agendas. At a time when we should be standing together as one nation, one voice, instead we find ourselves fractured and alone. It doesn't need to be this way. Together we are stronger than those who wish to seek to tear us down. As proof of that, information provided by imperial citizens loyal to the ideals upon which our nation was founded has proven invaluable in the hunt for those who sought to strike against us. In particular, agents of the imperial court have uncovered two potential locations which may well hold the answers we seek. I call on any pilot who has ever dreamed of honoring the legacy of our great empire. Assist me in teaching the Emperor's wayward sons exactly what it means to truly be a member of the greatest nation in the galaxy.
The subsequent weeks saw intense deliberations within the Imperial Senate.
Without a clear line of succession, we have a solemn duty to decide who will rule the empire in these fractious times. It is clear that our beloved Emperor wished for Senator Arissa Lavigny-Duval to become heir, and so, when the time came, become emperor. That time has now come. But the law does not allow us to honor his wishes. Instead, we must follow the rules set out for us by centuries of law and tradition. The Senate has 1 month to determine who will be the 16th ruler to sit on the imperial throne. The candidate must be of royal blood or of royal marriage, and must have a clear majority backing of the Senate in the final count. The final tally will be taken on October the 5th. Personally, I would urge the senators present to consider the emperor's intentions carefully. I knew him well, and I know that everything he did was for the good of the empire.
On October 6, 3301, the Senate declared Arissa Lavigny-Duval as the new emperor, a decision that was formalized with her coronation on October 18, 3301.
Everyone knows that my priority is the security of the empire. It is my duty as a senator to provide the best possible opportunities for the clients, patrons, citizens, and slaves who follow me. I take that duty seriously, as I do my oath as a senator to care for the empire as a whole. Part of that duty is to ensure that whoever sits at the apex of imperial society is the right person for the task at hand. They must know when change is needed, yet still observe the traditions that make the empire strong. They must be strong to ensure that we cannot be defeated, but they must also show mercy when the situation requires it. Many of my loyal followers have said that I would be a suitable candidate for emperor, and I am flattered and deeply honored that they hold me in such high regard. To them I say that I will be happy to work with whoever is declared emperor. Were it up to me, then the choice would be simple. My vote goes to my esteemed fellow senator, Arissa Lavigny-Duval.
Her ascension marked a new chapter in imperial history, as she became the first woman to hold the imperial throne. This milestone was met with both acclaim and resistance. While many lauded her commitment to honor and anti-corruption, traditionalists questioned her legitimacy based on her gender and the circumstances of her birth. Arissa's claim to the throne was fortified by DNA evidence confirming her lineage as Hengist's daughter. Despite facing opposition from traditionalists who questioned her legitimacy due to her gender and the circumstances of her birth, Arissa's unwavering dedication to imperial values and her vision for a reformed empire garnered her substantial support.
Honored citizens of the empire, my imperial brothers and sisters, I come before you today not as a princess or as a senator, but as a concerned daughter of this nation. In our father's long absence, certain undesirable elements have sought to usurp the right and just laws which govern our civilization. Through their dishonorable actions, they seek to unravel the delicate threads that bind us together as a great and unified society. The House of Duval will not allow the madness of the few to undo everything that we have struggled so long to achieve. I swear to you, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, the Emperor's protection will stand. You will not live in fear of hunger, of sickness, of weakness or shame. Enemies of the imperial court, beware. This is your one warning. You will not get another. This is a day I cannot compare to any other. The trust my fellow senators have shown in me makes me all the more determined to overcome the challenges we will surely face in the coming weeks and months. For too long, we have suffered from uncertainty in the wake of the emperor's death. I had the great fortune to talk with the late emperor in his final days, and to learn how he planned to strengthen the empire in these times of change. In the coming weeks, I will announce the formation of my government and my plans to tackle the threats facing the empire. But for now, I will enjoy this moment and express my gratitude to the empire and everyone, from slave to senator, for this opportunity to serve.
Upon her coronation, Emperor Arissa faced the immediate threat posed by Emperors Dawn, an ultra-traditionalist faction responsible for her father's assassination. Demonstrating her resolve, she declared Emperors Dawn enemies of the state and endorsed Senator Denton Petraeus's military campaigns to dismantle the insurgent group.
Emperor's Dawn has gone to great lengths to present itself as being aligned with the empire's values and ideals, but make no mistake, this organization is an enemy of the empire. Senator Petraeus has demonstrated sound judgment in his management of the campaign, and I have every faith in his ability to remove this threat to our civilization. The operation to destroy Emperor's Dawn will continue under his guidance.
The stability of her reign was disrupted in September 3306 when the Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army, NMLA, launched a series of terrorist attacks on imperial starports, followed by the assassination of Prince Harold Duval on September 14th. These events sent shockwaves throughout the empire, prompting a state funeral for Prince Harold on September 24th, during which Emperor Arissa delivered a poignant eulogy for her half-brother. In the wake of these tragedies, she took decisive action to combat the NMLA threat, working closely with imperial security forces to prevent further attacks and restore a sense of security among imperial citizens. In 3307, intelligence reports indicated a credible threat to Emperor Arissa's life, leading her to accept the Senate's formal protection. She was relocated to a secure, undisclosed location to continue her duties remotely. However, it was later revealed that during this period, she had been abducted by the Lords of Restoration, a covert group with deep ties within the Senate and imperial intelligence. In January 3307, a clandestine group of senators known as the Lords of Restoration orchestrated a coup that led to Emperor Arissa's abduction. This group, seeking to reshape the empire's governance, colluded with the private military firm Darkwater Inc. to detain the emperor. For over a year, her whereabouts remained unknown to the public, with the Senate issuing statements that she was in seclusion for her protection. The truth of her captivity came to light in February 3308, when a coordinated operation by the Imperial Guard and independent pilots successfully rescued her from confinement. This episode not only exposed vulnerabilities within the Empire's political apparatus, but also highlighted the lengths to which internal factions would go to challenge her rule. The Imperial Herald published a special report. The absence of the emperor from public life for over a year has prompted much speculation. The Senate claimed that she was being kept safe from assassination attempts by the NMLA and that they remained in contact with her. In truth, she was being held captive by the NMLA's secret benefactors. This group of imperial senators referred to themselves as the Lords of Restoration. They were revealed only after ACCT recruited independent pilots to help decipher the terrorists' dark comms network. Chancellor Blaine immediately ordered the Imperial Guard into battle against Darkwater soldiers. A ship fleeing from the Summerland system was intercepted, aboard which was a cryogenic pod containing the Emperor herself. She was swiftly returned to Capital and is currently under the care of the Imperial Palace medical team.
Citizens of the Empire, be assured that your Emperor is alive and well. I regret that my temporary seclusion has lasted for so long, but I have remained in contact with the Senate during this time. I was advised to depart from Capital when Imperial intelligence warned me about a legitimate NMLA assassination attempt, and of Marlinist sympathizers within the highest levels of our government. Once the work of this loyal agency is complete, I will continue my work in leading us toward a prosperous future.
The IISS has launched a security operation based on ACT's information. This reveals that groups within the Senate, Darkwater, and Imperial Intelligence formed a long-running conspiracy to fund and empower the NMLA. Senators Alberto Garrion, Carl Nerva, Ursula Torquatus, and several others have been placed under arrest. ACT has stated that it will provide additional information soon. The Neo-Marlinist Liberation Army, NMLA, posed another significant threat during her tenure. This extremist group, advocating for republicanism and the dismantling of imperial traditions, was responsible for a series of terrorist attacks, including the assassination of Prince Lavigny-Duval in September 3306. The NMLA's actions sowed fear and discord throughout the empire, challenging the emperor's efforts to maintain unity and order. Emperor Arissa's legitimacy has also been a point of contention among traditionalist factions within the empire. As the first woman to ascend to the imperial throne, her gender has been a focal point for hardliners who adhere to patriarchal interpretations of imperial succession laws. Additionally, the circumstances of her birth, being the illegitimate daughter of Emperor Lavigny-Duval, have been leveraged by detractors to question her rightful claim. These elements have fueled ongoing debates and resistance from sectors of the nobility and political elite, necessitating continuous efforts by the emperor to assert her authority and validate her position. The emergence of isolationist groups, most notably Nova Imperium, further complicated the political landscape. Led by Imperator Mordanticus, Nova Imperium advocated for a return to traditional imperial values and a more insular stance, opposing alliances and external engagements.
It is incumbent upon me to reveal that Lavigny-Duval fathered not one but two illegitimate children in his younger days. A few years before meeting Florence Lavigny, he had a brief affair with a slave in the imperial household. When Hengist's father discovered this, the matter was hushed up and the slave dismissed. The slave's son went on to sire a child of his own, Hadrian-Duval, grandson of Emperor Hengist-Duval. Hadrian was unaware of this until we located him and genetically confirmed his lineage. Arissa Lavigny-Duval is a weak emperor who must be removed. We call for Hadrian-Duval to be recognized as the true heir to the throne. The empire has been weakened by collaborating with its enemies. Aegis drains our resources to protect foreign systems from the Thargoids, our security forces are stretched thin defending non-imperial systems, and Princess Duval sullies her honorable name by dallying with a federal libertine. Our people demand stronger leadership. We will achieve this by installing a new emperor, one who will restore the glory of the empire.
Their rise culminated in open conflict, challenging Emperor Arissa's policies and threatening the cohesion of the empire. The eventual defeat and capture of Mordanticus were pivotal in quelling this insurrection. The year 3307 marked a turning point in Imperial Federation relations. Emperor Arissa Lavigny-Duval made the decisive move to sever official collaborations with both the Federation and the Alliance, limiting joint efforts to specific initiatives such as Aegis, the anti-Xeno organization. This decision underscored her dedication to preserving imperial sovereignty and preventing external influences from undermining the empire's autonomy. The cessation of these collaborations was a clear message to the Federation that the empire would not tolerate any encroachment on its internal affairs. Despite the formal cessation of collaborations, the two superpowers continued to engage in indirect competition, particularly in the spheres of trade and territorial influence. Both the Empire and the Federation sought to expand their reach into independent systems, offering economic incentives and security assurances to sway local governments. This rivalry often led to proxy conflicts, with each side supporting opposing factions within contested regions. In 3308, the political landscape shifted with the emergence of the Marlinist colonies, a group of imperial citizens who sought asylum within the Federation after facing persecution for their republican beliefs. The Federation's decision to grant them sanctuary was perceived by Emperor Arissa as a direct challenge to imperial authority and an attempt to foment dissent within the empire. In response, she reinforced internal security measures and issued statements condemning any external interference in the empire's domestic matters.
Our people have given us a clear mandate: the colonies stand alone. In accordance with the key principles of Marlinism, we reject monarchy rule in favor of republican governance and direct representation. Most of us are still haunted by the trauma of becoming refugees in 3306, when millions of innocent Marlinists were accused of supporting terrorist acts. We fled from an empire that had become intolerant and abusive. This cannot be so easily forgotten. Nevertheless, we recognize that approximately a quarter of our population voted to accept the emperor's proposal. The ties to our homelands remain strong, and we still share much culture and history with the empire. But the will of the masses is evident. I offer my thanks to Her Majesty for extending this offer, and call upon her to recognize and respect the decision of the Marlinist colonies.
As the Thargoid incursions expanded beyond the Pleiades, the need for coordinated defense became imperative. In 3304, the Empire, Federation, and Alliance collaborated to establish Aegis, a cross-superpower organization dedicated to researching Thargoid technology and developing defensive strategies. Emperor Arissa authorized imperial resources and personnel to support Aegis, reflecting her commitment to a unified approach against the alien threat.
To surmise that these encounters constitute proof of the existence of non-human intelligence would be rash in the extreme. We cannot rule out the possibility that these ships could be experimental human spacecraft, or even the product of an intricate hoax. I urge all imperial citizens to remain calm and not to leap to conclusions. The facts are these. The Thargoids have highly sophisticated starships, they have a relationship with the organic constructs, and they have the means to remotely disable human spacecraft. In some quarters, these facts have given rise to concern, but I urge you not to panic. The human race has surmounted countless challenges in the past and created a civilization that spans hundreds of star systems. Do not be too quick to discount the human race. I agree with Senator Patrius that supporting Azimuth's proposal remains our most practical course of action. However, alternative options for tackling the Thargoid threat are required.
However, the partnership within Aegis was not without internal debate. In January 3309, Princess Lavigny-Duval publicly appealed to Emperor Arissa to reconsider the empire's involvement in the cross-superpower anti-Xeno initiative, expressing concerns over resource allocation and potential overreach. Despite such appeals, Emperor Arissa maintained her stance on collaboration, emphasizing the necessity of a united front to effectively counter the Thargoid menace. The Thargoid threat reached a critical point in 3308 with the discovery of massive Thargoid constructs, colloquially termed Titans, which posed an even greater danger to human-occupied systems. In response, Emperor Arissa intensified military readiness, directing the Imperial Navy to bolster defenses in key sectors and protect Imperial territories from potential incursions. An official pronouncement from the Imperial Palace stated, "Every subject of the Empire who was abducted by the Thargoids is receiving the highest possible quality of treatment and support. The Emperor has ordered that they will be given exemplary medical and psychological care for as long as they remain in medical isolation." A cornerstone of her economic strategy has been the aggressive expansion of the Empire's sphere of influence. By January 3311, the Empire's reach extended to 1,269 systems, a testament to her successful policies of territorial and economic growth. This expansion not only increased the Empire's resource base, but also opened new markets for imperial goods and services, strengthening the overall economy. Emperor Arissa's administration has also focused on enhancing security within imperial-controlled systems to create a stable environment conducive to economic activities. Increased security measures have made it safer for unarmed miners and merchants to operate, thereby boosting trade and commerce. Additionally, bounty hunters have benefited from higher payouts for bounty claims, incentivizing the maintenance of law and order.